Join Joseph as he guides you through spine-tingling tales from around the world, from ghosts to aliens and the truly bizarre. Immerse yourself in the captivating world of true scares. Share your own ghost stories, summon your courage, and perhaps keep a nightlight close. Brace yourself as you tune in to this chilling podcast experience. Remember, it's just a podcast, or is it?
True and scary stories from around the world. From strange disappearances to eerie paranormal experiences, Joseph shares stories that will leave you scratching your head. Stay tuned for more chilling tales. True and scary stories, coming up next.
Just what I needed, another podcast about serial killers to brighten my day. Join Joseph as he takes us on a terrifying journey through the chilling tales of Betty Lou Beets and her culinary crimes. Who knew veggies could be so deadly? Perfect for my morning coffee, nothing like a side of true crime with a splash of horror.
The Twisted Tale of Betty Lou Beets, a true crime story. In the world of true crime, there are some cases that stand out for their shocking and gruesome details. One such case is that of Betty Lou Beets, a woman whose life was marred by violence and tragedy. From her troubled childhood to her tumultuous relationships, Betty Lou's story is a dark and twisted one that will leave you on the edge of your seat.
Welcome back to True and Scary. This is Joseph. Remember, don't be so scared.
The early years. Betty Lou Beets was born on March 12, 1937, in Knoxville, Tennessee. From a young age, she experienced abuse and neglect at the hands of her parents, setting the stage for a troubled and tumultuous life ahead. As she grew older, Betty Lou struggled to find stability and security, leading her down a dangerous path that would ultimately end in tragedy. Her relationships were fraught with violence and dysfunction, leading her to commit a series of crimes that would ultimately seal her fate. From theft to murder, Betty Lou's criminal activities would come back to haunt her in the most shocking way.
We shall return right after this. True and Scary. We are talking about Betty Lou Beets.
Join Joseph as he guides you through spine-tingling tales from around the world, from ghosts to aliens and the truly bizarre. Immerse yourself in the captivating world of true scares. Share your own ghost stories, summon your courage, and perhaps keep a nightlight close. Brace yourself as you tune in to this chilling podcast experience. Remember, it's just a podcast, or is it?
The murder of Jimmy Don Beets. In 1983, Betty Lou Beets was convicted of the murder of her fifth husband, Jimmy Don Beets. The details of the case were chilling, with Betty Lou confessing to shooting Jimmy Don and burying his body in the backyard of their home. The trial that followed was a media sensation, with Betty Lou's past coming to light and painting a picture of a woman capable of unspeakable acts. The trial and conviction. After a lengthy trial, Betty Lou Beets was found guilty of murder and sentenced to death. Despite her protests of innocence, the evidence against her was overwhelming, and she was ultimately held accountable for her crimes. The case of Betty Lou Beets remains one of the most notorious in true crime history, a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked violence and dysfunction. Legacy and impact. The story of Betty Lou Beets is a tragic one, a cautionary tale of a life gone horribly wrong. Her crimes and the impact they had on those around her serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of violence and abuse. While Betty Lou may be gone, her story lives on as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within us all. In the world of true crime, few cases are as shocking and disturbing as that of Betty Lou Beets. From her troubled past to her violent crimes, Betty Lou's story is a dark and twisted one that will leave you reeling. As we reflect on her life and the impact she had on those around her, let us remember the importance of confronting our demons and seeking help before it's too late. The legacy of Betty Lou Beets serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked violence and dysfunction, a cautionary tale that will haunt us for years to come. True and scary stories from around the world. From strange disappearances to eerie paranormal experiences, Joseph shares stories that will leave you scratching your head. Stay tuned for more chilling tales. True and scary stories, coming up next.
From a faked moon landing to wild ideas about JFK's assassination, conspiracy theories and believers abound. Conspiracy. Just saying the word in conversation can make people politely edge away, looking for someone who won't corner them with wild theories about how Elvis, John F. Kennedy and Bigfoot are cryogenically frozen in an underground bunker.
Conspiracies are sometimes real. The Watergate break-in is a good example of a political conspiracy that actually happened. But thanks to the social media algorithms that push users toward ever more emotional, conspiratorial content, it's probably never been easier for false conspiracy theories to spread. All conspiracy theories must have certain necessary elements: a conspiracy between two or more people, a secret action, and a motive, said Karen Douglas, a professor of social psychology at the University of Kent in the UK. But the ones that take off usually have something extra. Karen Douglas is a professor of social psychology at the University of Kent in the UK. Her research focuses on the antecedents and consequences of belief in conspiracy theories. She has published widely on these topics and her research regularly features in the media. Karen is currently working on a European Research Council advanced grant to study the consequences of conspiracy theories for individuals, groups, and societies. The top conspiracy theories are often very difficult to dislodge. In part, that's because they fulfill a psychological need, Douglas said. That may be the social need to feel good about the group they belong to, the need to know the truth and have certainty, or the existential need to feel safe or feel a sense of control over what happens to us, and hardcore believers are adept at rationalizing away evidence that contradicts their beliefs. Eyewitnesses who dispute the conclusions of even the biggest conspiracy theories are mistaken, according to believers, or part of the conspiracy. The truth, however, is out there.
True and scary stories from around the world. From strange disappearances to eerie paranormal experiences, Joseph shares stories that will leave you scratching your head. Stay tuned for more chilling tales. True and scary stories, coming up next.
The dead internet theory first surfaced on the Agora Rhodes Macintosh Cafe forum in 2021, when a user started a thread called Dead Internet Theory, Most of the Internet is Fake. Citing posts from major online discussion forums like 4chan, the theory claimed that non-human bots are responsible for almost all online activity and content creation. At a top level, the concept is that artificial intelligence, AI, and chatbots automatically churn out social media posts designed to farm clicks, comments and likes on platforms like Facebook and TikTok. They do this because more engagement leads to more advertising dollars. But the accounts responding to those automatic posts are in turn bots and AI agents, the conspiracy claims. In other words, everything is happening between machines, no humans needed. Go deeper down the rabbit hole, and some dead internet proponents argue that government organizations use these bots to manipulate human opinions. Proponents argue the internet died around 2016 or 2017, we just didn't know it back then. This conspiracy theory has a little kernel of truth at its core. Bots account for around half of all internet traffic, research suggests. That said, there are definitely humans on the internet. The dead internet theory first surfaced on the Agora Rhodes Macintosh Cafe forum in 2021, when a user started a thread called Dead Internet Theory, Most of the Internet is Fake. Citing posts from major online discussion forums like 4chan, the theory claimed that non-human bots are responsible for almost all online activity and content creation. The evidence is overwhelming that the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, were indeed the result of a conspiracy, a conspiracy of Osama bin Laden and a crew of mostly Saudi hijackers. This is too simple for some, though. Conspiracy theorists have a variety of much more complex explanations for what happened at the World Trade Center and Pentagon that day, often involving insider knowledge by President George Bush, Vice President Dick Cheney and top Bush advisors. Some famous conspiracy theories rely on anti-Semitic tropes, such as the attacks being orchestrated by Israel. Many claim that because jet fuel can't melt steel beams, the Twin Towers must have been brought down by controlled demolition from bombs planted before the planes hit. A 2006 Nova documentary debunked these claims. It is, in fact, quite possible for the columns holding up skyscrapers to fail catastrophically when exposed to fires burning on multiple floors. Other claims are refuted by simple logic. If a hijacked airplane did not crash into the Pentagon, as is often claimed, then where is Flight 77 and its passengers? In many conspiracy theories, bureaucratic incompetence is often mistaken for conspiracy. Our government is so efficient, knowledgeable and capable, so the reasoning goes, that it could not possibly have botched the job so badly in detecting the plot ahead of time or responding to the attacks.
True and scary stories from around the world. From strange disappearances to eerie paranormal experiences, Joseph shares stories that will leave you scratching your head. Stay tuned for more chilling tales. True and scary stories, coming up next. Princess Diana Conspiracy. Within hours of Princess Diana's death on August 31, 1997, in a Paris highway tunnel, conspiracy theories swirled. As was the case with the death of John F. Kennedy, the idea that such a beloved and high-profile figure could be killed so suddenly was a shock. This was especially true of Princess Diana. Royalty die of old age, political intrigue or eating too much rich food. They don't get killed by a common drunk driver. Unlike many conspiracy theories, though, this one had a billionaire promoting it, Mohammed al-Fayed, the father of Dodi al-Fayed, who was killed along with Diana. Al-Fayed claims that the accident was in fact an assassination by British intelligence agencies, at the request of the royal family. Al-Fayed's claims were examined and dismissed as baseless by a 2006 inquiry. The following year, at Diana's inquest, the coroner stated that, the conspiracy theory advanced by Mohammed al-Fayed has been minutely examined and shown to be without any substance. On April 7, 2008, the coroner's jury concluded that Diana and al-Fayed were unlawfully killed due to negligence by their drunken chauffeur and pursuing paparazzi, the New York Times reported. The conspiracy theory was also believed by Prince Harry, who said in January 2023, that he believed she could still be alive for many years after the crash. He told Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes that he thought she may have faked her own death and they would be reunited at some point.
Ever been watching a movie and suddenly get the munchies? Or sitting on your sofa watching TV and suddenly get the irresistible urge to buy a new car? If so, you may be the victim of a subliminal advertising conspiracy. Proponents of this conspiracy theory include Wilson Brian Key, author of Subliminal Seduction, and Vance Packard, author of The Hidden Persuaders, both of whom claimed that subliminal, subconscious messages in advertising were rampant and damaging. Though the books caused a public outcry and led to FCC hearings, much of both books have since been discredited, and several key studies of the effects of subliminal advertising were revealed to have been faked. In the 1980s, concern over subliminal messages spread to bands such as Styx and Judas Priest, with the latter band even being sued in 1990 for allegedly causing a teen's suicide with subliminal messages. The case was dismissed. Subliminal mental processing does exist, and can be tested. But just because a person perceives something, a message or advertisement, for example, subconsciously means very little by itself. There is no inherent benefit of subliminal advertising over regular advertising, any more than there would be in seeing a flash of a commercial instead of the full 20 seconds. Getting a person to see something for a split second is easy, filmmakers do it all the time. Watch the last few frames in Hitchcock's classic, Psycho. Getting a person to buy or do something based on that split second is another matter entirely.
NASA landed astronauts on the Moon in 1969. By the 1970s, a bizarre conspiracy emerged that the Moon landing never happened. The conspiracy was described in a 1976 self-published book, We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 Billion Swindle, and a 1978 movie, Capricorn 1. Even as late as 2001, there was a Fox documentary, Conspiracy Theory, Did We Land on the Moon? That gave airtime to the claims that the whole Apollo moon landing program was faked. There are plenty of debunkings of the various moon hoax claims, and then there's the issue of the hundreds of pounds of moon rocks that have been studied around the world and verified as being of extraterrestrial origin. How did NASA get the rocks if not during a moon landing? Why would scientists from around the globe willingly participate in the American Space Agency's hoax? Many astronauts have been offended by the implication that they faked their accomplishments. In 2002, when conspiracy theorist Bart Sibrel confronted Buzz Aldrin and called him a coward and a liar for faking the moon landings, the then 72-year-old punched Sibrel in the jaw.
Paul McCartney is not dead. As of mid-2024, he was still touring. He gives interviews, he has a website, he occasionally appears in the tabloids. Pretty good for a guy that some conspiracy theorists think died in 1966. The "Paul is dead" conspiracy goes something like this. On November 9, 1966, Paul McCartney got into an argument with the other Beatles, stormed out of the studio and was promptly decapitated in a car accident. To cover the whole thing up, the band hired a look-alike and sound-alike. After going through all this trouble, though, the band then took great pains to drop clues in their album covers and lyrics to hint to the public that something was amiss. For example, on the cover of the Abbey Road album, all four Beatles are photographed striding across a zebra crossing, but only McCartney is barefoot and out of step with the other three. This must mean something, right? Despite public denials by the band and many public appearances by McCartney, fans couldn't just let it be, and came together to look for more clues.
Join Joseph on his spine-tingling podcast as he delves into true and scary tales from around the world. Prepare to be captivated by stories of ghosts, aliens, and the bizarre. Don't forget to bring your own ghost stories and the courage to listen with only a nightlight. Tune in if you dare, and remember, it's just a podcast. Get ready for chills.